Hi everyone, this is Alma coming to you from Long Beach, California. Today is Tuesday, June 29th of the year 2021, and this is part 2 of my WIP parade that I do twice a year. So I tried filming after finishing up part 1, and my phone decided that it didn't want to work with me. I guess it was just too much for it. Literally, it was too big. And by the time, and I was already like 25 minutes in, and it decided that it didn't want to deal. And I don't even know where that video went because it's gone. So it didn't even save it. So here we are, take 2, both part 2. Hopefully we'll be able to get through this and finish things up without any more technical difficulties, because apparently that was too much to ask for last time. So here we go. Well, I mean, if this is the first time that you are visiting, welcome. I encourage you to go ahead and watch for part 1 first and then come back so you can get a better idea of the projects that I have. But yeah, let's just jump right in, shall we? I was mentioning all of the birthday starts that I had last year, because what other way could we celebrate a birthday when we were all in a lockdown? And I had a couple more to show you. The third one, I guess, is a chart that was actually gifted to me by Candace of Slug Lover Stitches. You can find her on Instagram, and I don't know if she still has her channel up. I know that she used to film FlossTube videos, but it's been quite a bit of time since we've seen anything from her. But this is another one of Daniel Cordick's designs for Tilton Crafts. This is Till Death Do Us Part. And of course, it's Corpse Bride by Tim Burton. One of my favorite movies as well. I love his work. So, and she knew, that that I was really wanting to stitch that up, and she actually bought it for herself as well. So she's stitching it too, and not too much progress to show. This is why I like to do things just like straight through, because then I started stitching today, and yeah, so I try to keep this as it was, so I didn't have to deal with having to struggle. Anyway, this is what I have so far. My notes say that I had 3,400 stitches when I last showed this to you. I've only added maybe 500 more, mostly over here on the vine. It's the black. It's the black. I just don't want to deal with the black right now. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and just keep going with the vines at least, because this actually right here, that bit of scattered stitches is Victor's hair. So the man's hair that is coming up over here. So maybe that's one way to go ahead and keep myself motivated to work on this, is to not do the black and just stick to the rest of the border right now and then fill in the black. Maybe when I'm watching TV or something. Because I do love the design, I love the movie, and I matched the needle minder because butterflies are kind of symbolic in the movie. So I thought that the needle minder was also very appropriate for this WIP. For this one, the goal was to hit 15,000 stitches. I would still need to do 11,000 stitches more. So we'll have to see. I do want to work on all of these this month because it'll be their birthday month, just like mine. Because yeah, I just figured, as with everything else, the only way that you get things done is to actually work on them. So, and working on them once a year that's not a way to do it. That's how you have WIPs for 20 some years. and I just don't want to have them for that long. I want to finish them. They deserve to be finished. So, and that was started on July 16th, shortly after my birthday. And as I mentioned on the part 1 of my WIP parade, my go-to fabric for full coverage is 18 count white Aida. I do it 2 strands over 1 stitch. So for me, that's, you know, it's not too bulky. It doesn't leave too much space. It's just right. I know that, you know, everybody's different. Everybody has different tastes. So some people don't think it's enough and they do three strands, or, you know, some people are okay with 1 strand. Point being is, for me, it's perfect. So that's my go-to. So unless otherwise stated, all those full coverage designs are on 18 count white Aida. So that same day is also Laurel's birthday. My friend Laurel from Virtual Stitchers. So she had a birthday sale, because again, how else to celebrate a birthday when we couldn't really do much of anything else? So you could either join her in starting a specific pattern that she started, join the journey, I think it was, or, you know, just join her with anything else really. So what I did was I picked one of the patterns that she's working on, which I was already looking at it because I thought it was really pretty. So I just decided it was a great opportunity to start it. And this is the 3 Things Sampler by Moira Blackburn. And I went ahead and I got dyed fabric for this one, because I thought it would look nice, you know, it would give it a little bit more character. And for that one, I did go with, because it was going to be dyed, I did go with a bigger count, which, I mean, it's okay. It's going to be really big. She calls it her mantelpiece. I think this is the one that she calls the mantelpiece because it's so big. But it's 14 count Cappuccino Froth by Fiona, which is really interesting because it's the same, like, Cappuccino Froth was the same fabric that I got for the Time to Stitch sale. But as you can see, because even with the light, like, you can see it's different, right? So the Time to Stitch one came out with more golds and browns, and this one came out with more I don't even know what to call this. This is just more greenish, brownish tones. But I thought it worked really well for this one. I wasn't mad. I think it's really pretty fabric. So last time I showed this on my last WIP parade was I think I had done like half of this flower and then all of this flower, and I had done the letter A and the R. So I haven't done too much on it, but it's a steady process. I still want to go ahead and finish the top section, so the goal is to go ahead and finish all the motifs that you see there. I want to finish them all the way across to the other side. So it's got the top border over here, the flowers, and the alphabet, of course. I want to go ahead and finish that alphabet. And there's a last motif over here under it's got a line going through it's got this line going through the two rows, and then another motif. I think it's supposed to be leaves because it changes from orange to red, I think. So I want to finish all of that going through to the other side. So I think I can go ahead and do it because I do enjoy work on this a lot. It's just, I don't know, it's just something about samplers. It's kind of soothing, because it's all repetitive, you know, it's a lot of the same motifs. So I do want to keep working on this. The next piece that I started, again, kind of still on the starting binge that I went on back then. I started, speaking of you know, blocks of black. I started another one of my Tilton Crafts charts. This is Fractal Energy by Nathan Smith. So, you know, you got the solid black over here, and then even the dark sky has, it doesn't have black, but it's a lot of solid colors. There's a little bit of a gradient. There's a specific word for it, where you kind of do alternating colors to give it that gradient feel. I can't think of the word right now, but I think that's why I enjoy her patterns, just because they're easy to stitch and she still finds a way to give it that detail. So this is what I have so far. Again, 18 count white Ada. So, and again, just all black. This was my go-to piece for a while when I would want to watch TV and stitch, mostly during Mania, I think. Because I just remembered stitching a lot when we were watching our anime shows, which was kind of hard to do because we watched them in Japanese with English subtitles, and it's, you know, you have to be alert, you have to read the subtitles, so it's not like when you're watching movies, like in your own language, I guess, where you can just listen to what's going on. This one's difficult because I don't know Japanese, so I need to read. Anyway, as you can see, like I started with a dark blue here at the top, and then we've got the lighter blue coming in here. Or I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it's coming out of the lighting real well. For this one, I've done 2,300 stitches this year. I originally wanted to do, again, 15,000 stitches on this. I would still need almost 8,000 more to go. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that, because I think what's going to end up happening is this is going to replace Hogwarts whenever I do finish it, because of all the black. Like whenever I'm feeling blocks of black color, I'll go ahead and pick this up, because it's a lot in the centerpiece. Looking back on it, a friend of mine says that she would, I think it was Tess, from Test Stitches, she said that if she were to do it, she would probably find a way to just work on this. She would edit it or something to try to just stitch that centerpiece. And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. It's a lot. The next piece that I started the next day, July 18th, is again Tilton Crafts Daniel Cordex artwork. This is inspired by the live-action Cinderella movie that came out in 2015, which I adore that movie. So far, it's been my favorite live-action remake. They've done Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, if you're gonna count that as a live-action, because it's all CGI, and Mulan. They just came out with Mulan. But this one, I mean, I just really appreciated it. It's got some lovely themes to it, and yeah, it just has a very special place in my heart. So unfortunately though, it really hasn't gotten much attention. I think it's pretty much the same as the last time I filmed a WIP parade. So I did forget to mention that, I guess, in the beginning of the video. I keep just wanting to get down to it because I assume, which I don't know if I should assume, that people would just go straight from part 1 to part 2. But the way that I film my WIP parades is, if you go to the last one that I filmed, in this case the one that I filmed in December, I film it in such a way that you can go from the last one to this most recent one and not miss a thing. So whenever I say, you know, the last time I showed it to you, that's what I mean. It's from the WIP parade, not necessarily my FlossTube updates. I've only done it says I've done 2,500 stitches. Or no, I was at 2,500 stitches when I last showed it to you, and it still stayed the same. The goal was to go ahead and hit 15,000 stitches, but we'll see. We'll see. This has all the blues, so this is also like, it's both good and bad. You know, if I'm in the mood to stitch for blue with blue, and sometimes they'll even have prompts where you have to stitch with blue. This is my go-to, but I haven't really picked it up, so there's that. The next piece that I'm going to show you, I don't have the product image for it. It was one of the Stitching Book Club sales. Sapphire Mountain Handcraft is, I believe, the name of the Etsy store. But of course, you know, on Instagram and such, we all know it as the Stitching Book Club. She did, for fall of 2020 last year, she did Frankenstein. And Frankenstein is my all-time favorite novel. So as soon as she announced it, I knew that I had to participate. So I did go ahead and finish it. So here we are. So that's why I also didn't bother with the product image, just because I can just show you the finished product. The last time that I showed this to you, it was pretty much done. All that was missing was this inner border. It was just, you know, it was very stitch heavy, so for a long time I just wasn't in the mood for it. I just didn't feel like working all that border. I know quite a few people that just left it out entirely. They didn't want to deal with it because it was the last part that came out, so people were just like, eh. So the great thing about this, and I mentioned it last time, was that she didn't give us a material list. She kind of just gave us what do they even call it? She just gave us the opportunity to pick our own materials. And so it was really interesting to see the variety that people came up with, both fabric-wise and even just the threads, because the threads, everybody was different. She went with a dark green, I forget what color, but it was like a dark foresty kind of green. So the DMC that I chose was a variated floss. It was 4522 according to my notes. So that was for the main, the centerpiece right here for the Frankenstein, and the inner borders. Well, and I suppose this tiny outer border as well. So this, and then the inner boxes right here. And then I just went with a gray for the panels, and then a dark brown. I forget which brown, but it was just a dark brown for this triangle border inside. And I went ahead, and even though I didn't finish it in 2020, I figured the style was featured in 2020, so I didn't mind leaving the 2020 there. But I went ahead and put my initials as if it were part of the book or sheet music, whatever that was supposed to be. But yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I did it on 14 count touch of gray Ada from 123 Stitch. So it just gave it that nice tone without because I wanted to make sure that the floss was the one that that spoke for the design. You know, sometimes people would have gone for like hand-dyed fabric with like modeling or something, and then solid flosses, so that way the fabric was the one that was kind of like the main. But I wanted to be sure that the floss was the one that was standing out. So it was nice. I finished that on May 7th of 2021. My mania this year was to finish things instead of start them. So that was one of the, that was the first piece that I finished for Mania. So it was on the 7th. The next piece I have to show you, I started on August 14th, 2020. It's another one of my hates. This is Heaven and Earth Designs Mini Mauve Irises by Miriam Bloom. She's got beautiful, beautiful florals. I do enjoy looking at her pieces. And this one was one of the first times that I started experimenting with 25 count easy guide. So here we go. I'm pretty sure this is the right side. Again, not too much progress to show. I've only done 500 stitches on it this year. So, and it was all like on the purple petals. I did want to keep moving with the petals. Again, to kind of motivate me to go ahead and keep working on it. So the goal was to hit 9,000 stitches this year, but I would still have quite a bit to go. So I'm not sure if I'll be able to accomplish that goal. But it's beautiful, and it's a mini, so that's also why I'm hoping to work on this, because it would be a quicker finish than my other full coverages that are much larger. Okay, sorry. Okay, the next one that I have to show you, I don't have the product image for either, and I don't have the final image because it was a mystery sampler. So I think I may have like the first part, but I can easily show that to you because I finished that part. It's the Friends and Family Mystery Sampler style from Linen and Threads. That was the mystery sampler from 2020. And I started this on September 3rd, so it was well on its way. It was almost done. I mean, considering that it started in January, yeah. I just, you know, especially because of the experience that I have with the Time to Stitch style, I really wanted to just make sure that I liked it a lot before I started with it. And one of the things that made me really hesitate was the fact that, I mean, as the name implies, it's friends and family. The focus or the novel part of the style was that throughout the design there's initials, there's places where you can put down initials, so that's how you commemorate friends and family. But goodness, I don't even know what's going on outside. But I just didn't, you know, I was unsure. First of all, I didn't know how many we would be able to put down there, and then even then it's like I wasn't sure where I would put them. So it wasn't until somebody told me that you could just replace it, like there would be motifs that you could replace the initials with. I don't know if that's actually true, but either way, I think I am gonna go for the initials in the end. I'll just wait until I finish everything and decide where I want to put everything, or all the initials. So long story short, this is what I have. I think the last time I showed this to you, I had this motif done, and then I think I started this. I don't think I had quite finished it. So I finished that one. I finished these two little motifs and the butterfly. And so right now, I'm pretty much done with this flower pot over here as well. So the idea is to go ahead and do it mostly in this color. It's 3808 DMC, and then use some additional pinks and purples to kind of give it that pop of color. But I do want this to be the main color. So yeah, enjoying this quite a bit. This is done on a piece hand dyed by Rolanda. That's the name of the shop. It's an Etsy shop. So this is the full piece. And she doesn't necessarily sell them by color. She kind of does them, she does one, like I call them one-off one-off pieces, because it's really one of a kind, and that's it. Like she hardly ever repeats her methods, I guess. It's just one and that's it. So I got this one, and I got a similar one that was not so it was just lighter tones, so the same colors but maybe not so dark. So yeah, so those are the two pieces that I got from her because I really like them. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the second piece just yet. Okay, the next piece that I started on September 9th or 10th 2020, and I've been looking at this for so long, just fell in love with it. I think September was Sampler September. I feel like that's why I started the Friends and Family sale, and now this one. Consider the Lilies. This is a heartstring samplery design based on Beth Twist. Well, yeah, Beth Twist is the designer. And I'm sure you've seen this. It came out in March 2020. I simply adored this. And again, I kind of looked at it for a long time before buying it. But I'm very glad I did. And this one I used 18 count vintage country mocha. And unfortunately I haven't really done too much in it. Yeah, my lighting does weird things. I mean, I guess that's because I have two kinds. I've got the warm yellow light and then the white bluish light. But I haven't really done much to it. I don't even know which. I'm pretty sure this is the right side up. It's the same. I did want to go ahead and try to do a couple of motifs on this before the year ends. But I'm not sure what my goal is going to be at this point, because I had originally said I wanted to finish a fifth of it before the end of the year, and that's a lot. I think Leanne from Leanne Stitches is also working on this as well. I mean, there's plenty of other people that are working on this, but yeah, she was just the first one that came to mind. And I am using the DMC conversion. I'm not doing the hand-dyed floss for this. I am doing the DMC conversion. For me, getting fabric for it was more than enough, really. I think I had some birthday money that I could use this for, because I don't normally get the the hand-dyed fabrics. The next piece was a start that I also finished earlier this year, and it was done as a model stitch for the designer. So this is Full Moon by the Foxy Stitcher on Etsy, and this one I started on October 6th, 2020. Sorry if that's a bother to you all. Stay. And I finished it on February 23rd, 2021. So I used all the called for colors on 18 count data, and I really enjoyed working on this. It was really soothing, like not just the colors, because I love those blues, but also the way I did it, how I did it. And I think last time I showed this to you guys, I was at 40%. I would just go around, you know. I finished. So I think I did these two top corners first, and then that's when I started doing the first color that did go all the way around, and then I was able to go ahead and do these other corners. But yeah, after that it was just going around and around, finishing all the colors. So I really enjoyed working on this a lot. And I actually think this was the right side of whatever. It's it's the moon. But yeah, really enjoyed working on it. And I think she has a few other designs on her Etsy shop as well. Okay, I think from now on, most of the product image are going to be on my tablet. So I'll go ahead and show you. Next piece that I started on October 14th of the year 2020. And the pattern I actually bought way before that time. It was just one of those things where it was like an impulse buy. I just loved the pattern. I decided to go ahead and buy it. Said I will stitch this eventually. And I do have the mock-up here. There we go. Pattern Keeper to the rescue. So this is a Stitching Time Max Colors by Amy Stewart. And I am doing this on 25 count easy grid. So again, I think that's why I was hesitating to start it, is because it's quite big, even for the regular size is quite big. So this is what I have so far. Oops. Trying to work with the lighting. So the last time that I showed it to you, I was at 350 stitches, so I had really just started it because it was one of, you know, it was later in the year, so I didn't have too much on it. I had 350. Now I have 2,000 stitches. So I kept going with the snow, I kept going with the white-ish colors. Started a little bit on the trees, so I'm trying to work my way up on the trees in the bottom. And I think this is going to be the first book, or the first vignette that you see. I'm thinking of her bookshelf for whatever reason. But yeah, I do want to keep working on this. The goal was to hit 20K. So considering that I only have 10% of that done, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to reach that goal. But I'm really enjoying the process. And that's one of my favorite needle minders. It's just a ton of kitties. So that was the first Amy Stewart that I ever finished. Started. And then shortly afterward, I decided, oh, one's not enough. I want to start more. So I went ahead and started. This was actually this one design. I just had to have it when this came out. I think it came out in August. I forget. I just remember that I wanted to start it immediately and I had to wait for fabric and it was killing me. But it is A Reader's Paradise, also by Amy Stewart. She's got, you know, all sorts of designs like this where it's a room and it just has all sorts of objects around it. And, you know, I still love to read. I just do audiobooks now mostly, so I can go ahead and stitch while I listen to them. But I've always loved reading, loved reading. So this was for me. And, you know, I decided to go big or go home. I bought the Max Color supersized version. So it's quite big. And between this and Eternal Promise and Stitch in Time, you know, I really got to know and like 25 count. Because yeah, like, look at all this fabric. Look at all this. Look at all this. So second to, well, no, this is my largest piece, and then Eternal Promise is the second largest. Again, trying to fiddle with it. I folded it wrong. That was my bad. But this is what I have so far. Last time I showed this to you, I was at 361 stitches. Now I have 3,200 stitches. So the goal, I had a hefty goal for this one. I thought I was going to be working on it a lot more than I really have. I thought I was gonna be able to hit 36,000 stitches. So again, I'm under 10% of that goal, so I don't think it'll happen. But at least for this one, I am going to make the effort of working on it consistently. And I'm not gonna push myself for like big count goals. I think I may use it for the monthly prompts for magical stitches. So I can just do, you know, 500 stitches a week, which is doable. But that way I can keep working on this and keep making progress, because it is a huge piece and I don't want to, you know, like, I know that I'm gonna have it for a long time because that's just the nature of these projects, especially considering that I have like, you know, 48 others. But yeah, I do want to keep working on this consistently. And I did start this on October 20th. I forgot to mention that. But again, it was shortly after I started this Stitch in Time. Amy Stewart. And then I also started quite a few others. Again, I went in spurts. I would go months without starting something, and then suddenly I'll just start all the things. So this was the beginning of the second spurt, apparently, because the next piece that I started was one of the one of Daniel Cordick's designs for Chilton Crafts. This is called Caramel Macchiato. Well, it's been renamed. Now it's Caramel Macchiato Ariana, because it is supposed to be Ariana Grande. And I mean, I'm actually not a fan. Like, I don't listen to her music much. I just liked the pattern, the design. I thought the expression was really sweet. The colors were lovely. It was just soft, and I liked it. So I decided to go ahead and stitch it. But no progress to show, unfortunately. The goal was to hit 10K on this one. I'm not quite sure if it's going to happen, but especially for these that I started later in the year, because by this point I was planning on doing the No New Starts challenge this year. So a lot of these I started not with the intention of stitching them on this year, or stitching on them this year, but I had them in case I did finish things. So I had backups that I could go to if I chose to do so. So you'll see quite a few of these haven't really seen too much progress, because it's been one of those things where I just didn't plan necessarily to stitch on them, which is weird. It's like, why start them anyways? Just in case. That was on the 21st of October, and then on the 22nd I started another pattern, or another WIP. And this one, I again couldn't resist it. It's Cinderella by Zana Cross Stitch, and I just fell in love with the dress. I think the dress is beautiful in this picture, and I thought, I want to stitch it. It's pretty. And I had fabric for it. You know, for this one, I'm pretty much using scraps from the bigger WIPs that I got. And this one has seen some change. When I showed it to you last, I had 300 stitches, and now I have 1,300 stitches. So I did like 1,000. So not too much progress considering it's been 6 months, but you know, every stitch counts. So again, I kind of just skipped over the dark ones. I didn't want to deal with the black, or 930, I think it's 939. I just decided to go ahead and skip that for now, because I deal with it so much with my Hogwarts piece already. I wanted to go to something else. But for that one, I wanted to hit 10,000 stitches. I don't know if it'll happen, but we'll see. The next one that I started is actually a design by a fellow FlossTuber, Bart of Park Hopper Bart. I mean, as the name implies, he's quite a fan of Disney, so I'm a big fan of his designs. And when he came, he actually started kind of giving us a sneak peek of this one, which I would show you if I could find it. Let me see. There we go. So this is the Tomb Sweep Tomb pattern that he designed, inspired by Haunted Mansion. So as you can tell, big fan of Haunted Mansion. And the way he designed it was, it's to be stitched in 2 separate pieces. So do the border on one piece, and then Tomb Sweet Tomb in another piece, and then you sew both of them together. I still don't know if I'm going to do that. I kind of don't like the idea of it. I may just bite the bullet and do white stitches for the background. But just a second, because I have this on very matching. Well, I say it's matching, but you know, happened for Christmas. Haunted Mansion does become Jack Skellington themed, and this is what I have so far. So last time I showed it to you, I had just done this rose, so not too much stitching has been made on this. So I did this tiny little flower and then this one over here. I originally wanted to go ahead and finish the flower border this year, but I don't know if it'll happen. I would like to at least get like one. And this isn't, you know, I have this massive piece of fabric, but it's not gonna be this big, obviously. I just had this left over from the Consider the Lilies. It's the 18 count vintage country mocha. And I'll just cut it once I finish. It's fine. Just didn't want to deal with measuring. So I think at this point I would like to just finish one edge so that I can have the other flowers pop in as well. And then yeah, I do want to work on this for Halloween at least, so it's nice and it goes with the theme. And this project bag is by Vicky with Stitch and Button. So thank you, Vicky. The next piece that I want to show you is another one of my kind of, not exceptions, I guess. I don't know what you want to call it, but it's pretty much, give me a second. Oh, right. Okay. It's kind of like an impulse buy. But I enjoy the pattern. I am going to stitch it. It is Mini Sun and Stars from Hade, inspired by Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. He's very nice to look at, and I got the mini, so I said it's going to be a nice quick stitch. But of course, I'm just in the background right now, so I'm not exactly very enthused about stitching on it. So not too much project. I don't think there's any progress to show, really. Here we are. Let me see. Yeah, no, I have no change here on my notes. Yeah, it's just all the same color. So again, I did do the outline, which I don't think you'll be able to see it. There's like a line right here of stitches. So that is the outline. So I may just go ahead and work on him, because I know where he starts at least, so that I don't have that block or that creative block of not wanting to work on the solid. I think there's two colors, but it's still background. And that was started on, where is it? See, this is what I was struggling with earlier. I can't find the information. Here we go. That was started on October 27th. Oh, and the designer's name is Katerina Koukiotis. So yeah, so I really want to stitch on it. I really like that pattern, but it's just not exciting to work on the background. The next piece that I have to show you was another gift of sorts. And this was started on Halloween. So I had the pattern, and then a friend of mine, Leanne from Leanne Stitches, she was kind enough to gift me the materials. And it's Nevermore by Lila's Studio. And I was able to start it with a friend of mine, Michelle from Southern Dark Sea Stitcher. I'm pretty sure she's like way ahead of me, because I pretty much haven't stitched on this since I started it. But Leanne was kind enough to kind of kit it up for me. She's the mastermind behind Forbidden Fiber Company. So because she works with hand-dyed yarn, she's also worked with hand-dyed fabric and floss now. So she kind of did her own conversion and sent it my way. And again, let me see if I can find the information for this one, because there we are. This is 16 count morning mist, and I don't know if it's available in her shop, because I don't know if she just did this as a favor to me or if it's actually Leah. Feel free to comment and let me know. But yeah, again, and she also gave me the floss for it as well. So I think the floss is available at least. So, and again, I do want to work on this during Halloween time because it's out. Okay, now that's, I think we're back to being in order this time. The next piece that I started was another gift by a viewer. Her name's Debbie. Hi, Debbie. And she's actually given this to some FlossTubers. I'm gonna try to show you the image without showing you the pattern. So I call this the summer tree, only because I know that Sarah from Stitching Mommy has the spring tree. I think she has the winter tree as well. So I do want to keep, I did work on this actually quite a bit, and I have this in another project bag, and this one's by Goose Designs. Here it is. Well, oh, here we go. Okay, this is what happens when you film twice over. Sometimes things get out of order. I added maybe a couple hundred stitches on it since the last time I showed it to you. So the reason why I'm hesitant to work on this is because I still haven't gotten around to serging the edges, and every time I pick it up I get frayed. So I do want to get that done so I can go ahead and work on it without you know, worrying that it's just gonna fall apart. But I do love the design. I think it's really pretty colors, and I do look forward to working on it a little bit more next year. I did have it slated for a finish this year, but I don't know if it's going to work out, so I might just stick with doing a quarter of it at this point. Oh no, this does go back in the, like I showed it to you and I'm like, oh wait, where's the actual fabric? All right, and the pattern can go inside as well. Okay, here we go. And that was started on November 6th, and I am using 14 count Aida for it. I forgot to mention that bit. It did come with like an 11 count Aida. It's one of those kits that come with the fabric like painted with the colors, like where you have to stitch. I didn't really care for the 11 count, and I didn't know how I would feel about working on it like being painted, so I just grabbed some scrap 14 count Aida to go ahead and work on it. But I am working with the kit floss that came with it. And then the next one that I started was by All My Stitches Shop, and I started this on the same day. This was at the height of Mandalorian fame, so I, like many others before me, fell in love with Baby Yoda, so I had to start a Baby Yoda pattern. And I think this one's just called Baby Alien, you know, for legal reasons. But of course, Baby Yoda. And I am working on my own color conversion for this. I'm doing a D-stash for this, so I'm not necessarily going by the colors that she's asking for. Everything's falling in my place. Yeah, this is the correct way. So no change, unfortunately, since last time. Again, I want this to, because it's a lot of block stitching, it's kind of one of the many projects I have for when I want to like watch TV or something, and I don't necessarily have to think about what I'm stitching or where I'm putting my needle. So that's mostly why it hasn't really gotten that much work, because I have other WIPs that I'm using for those occasions. So again, especially, so this is November 6th, so this was the start of New Start November. So most of the pieces that I started at that time were, again, not necessarily with the intent to work on them during this year, but to have them in case I did finish things and I felt like working on a relatively new piece without actually starting something, so that I could still participate in new starts. So again, the next few are going to be pretty much back-to-back starts, because the next day I started one of my more complicated pieces, and I'm very glad I did. This is a Teresa Wensler design called English Garden Sampler. Started this on November 7th. And I mean, if you know anything about her designs, you know that this particular one is extremely hard to find, and I was lucky to come by it on one of the D-Stash groups on Facebook. Somebody was giving it away for free. They wanted, because it wasn't a D-Stash, it was barter. So, you know, somebody says, I have this looking, and I'm looking for this. So I think I offered up fabric. I think I offered up fabric or some other pattern. No, it was pattern books. I gave her some of my pattern books that I kind of fell out of love with anyway, so I wasn't mad. But that one is also in a project bag. So, and this was made for me by Michelle, again from Southern Darkseed Stitcher. Lovely, lovely bag. And not too much work on this. It's although now, okay, so the reason why I wasn't working on it too much is because I wasn't used to working on 25 count, but now that I'm working on it a lot more often, I feel like I won't have any issues, because at least this alphabet that I'm starting with is 1/1. Eventually, when I get to the majority of design, it'll be 1/2, so it won't be as bad. But that's also why it's been a bit of a slow start. So the last time I showed it to you, I had just done the bottom of the letters. So here it is, I finished the letters. The goal for this year was to finish the alphabet, at least. So I think I can still do that. Well, I think originally I said I wanted to finish 1/5 of it, but now I'm like, just get through the alphabet so that you can start on the 1/2 sections. So that was, and that came with a 25 count Lugana. So I went ahead and used that, and it also came with the DMC. So that's what I'm using for it as well. Okay, a few more to go. Not that many though, bear with me. The next one that I started was another design by Mandarin's Designs. She's the one that did Bilbo's Home. She had this design of the Little Prince, and I've always loved the story. I loved the Netflix movie that came out, I think last year or the year before. I thought it was really cute. So I decided I want to work on this. I want to stitch this up. And it's quite a fast stitch, because all of the background, so all of the blues, is just half stitch. So the only full stitches there is in this design is on the little planet, or asteroid, I guess, technically. And of course the Little Prince. So this is, I think this is how it goes, yeah. This is what I have so far. So a bit of progress, I guess. Last time I showed it to you, I was at 400 stitches. Again, half stitches, but 400 half stitches. And now I'm at 1075. So again, if you want to count that as, 535 something stitches, go ahead. But according to Pattern Keeper, it's 10,000 stitches, or 10,000. 1075. So yeah, bit of progress, not too much, because I knew I just wanted something easy and fast to work on for a prompt, so I just worked on that one. And then the next one that I started by, I started quite a few by her all at once. The next one that I started was her Darth Vader design. And I toyed with the idea of doing this on Black Ada, but I decided not to. I was like, no thank you. So I'm just doing this on regular 18 count Ada. And I am trying to do this for my cousin. Well, technically her kids, but yeah, it's going to be a gift is what I meant to say. However, I still haven't done anything. Again, it's just one of those things where I have them in case I want to work on them, but I'm not gonna force myself to work on them. So here we are. Again, no progress. And this was started on November 8th. I think it was the same day. No, it was the next day after the Little Prince. On the same day, I started another one of her designs. This time, and this one I have worked on it for a bit. It's her Iron Man piece. So Leanne Stitches, she's doing a superhero Saturday style, and so I decided to go ahead and join in with this one, and I'm alternating between this one and the Wonder Woman piece that I have from Children Crafts. So I worked on this in June. Now it's going to be Wonder Woman's turn in July. And I had originally told myself that I was going to do 2,000 stitches on this, because again, not necessarily focused on working on these new starts too much over the course of the year. But I've already got 1,500 stitches, so almost there. And I had the 200 when I first showed it to you. So as you can see, I've done a bit more on the arm, and I'm starting his torso. So good progress, I think. I mean, I'll at least hit that 2,000 stitch count goal. I'll go ahead and keep working on this though for the Superhero Saturday style, but I'll only work on it for maybe 200 stitches or something. So because I do want to work, I have plenty of other WIPs that I want to work on, so I'll only work on it for a bit on this one, just to participate in the style. And then another piece that I started, not by Mandarin's Designs, is TM Books, and I started this with Tess from Tess Stitches. I started this on November 15th, and it's another one of the Heaven and Earth Designs charts. The artist is Bridget Ashwood, and they've since then came out with a version that doesn't have the background, which, I mean, I don't mind the background, it's gonna be fine. I think it adds to the, like, I like the texture, so I don't mind working on the background, but it's nice to not have to do the background. So this is what I have so far, and I have worked on this a bit. I'm doing this on 18 count easy guide, which Tess was kind enough to get for me so that we could start this. So this is what I have so far. Last time I showed it to you, I had 300 stitches done, and I've added 1,000 more stitches to this. So, and I think this is the beginning of the first book right here. So that's the edge. So this is all background, and it goes all around. But yeah, lots of browns. But working with all the browns. A goal for that one is to hit 15,000 stitches, but I don't know if I'll be able to hit that because so many other things to do. But I do enjoy working on it. It's just a lot of the same colors. The last piece that I'm going to show you is in the part 1 I mentioned there was one that was a gift. So I won't be able to I won't be able to show you the finished product, but I can show you the image at least of what it looked like. I did this for a friend of mine that had a baby boy last month. He was born in May, so I was able to finish this for her just in time. And I found the pattern in an Etsy shop called Hornswoggle store on Etsy. It's a Winnie the Pooh design. And I used this for a de-stash piece as well. I didn't necessarily follow the called for colors, kind of did my own conversion, but I followed the gist of it. And what I did was this quote right here on the top, I moved it to the bottom of the image as if it were, because you know, sometimes you have illustrations and you have like a caption underneath. So I moved it to the bottom of the design, and then on that empty space was where I added the baby's information. So I did it as a separate sampler, so I added his name, birthday, weight, and measurements, as you do. So I started that on November 25th, and I finished it like a day or two after he was born. I think it was mid-May. I finished it around like May 15th or something. So yeah, that's the end of it. That's the list. I started the year with 54 WIPs. So between the one that I UFO'd and I've had 6 finishes, so that's 7 less. Yay, woohoo, 47 more to go. But that's it. Those are all my projects that I have going so far. What I want to do is, now that I'm about to finish Hogwarts this month, I would like to go through, and all of those projects that I said no progress for, I want to add 1,000 stitches to them. Even the ones that I started in November that I said I wasn't necessarily going to touch, I do want to get at least 1,000 stitches on them so that everything gets progress. And that was Vicky from Reading and Stitching here on FlossTube. That was her little challenge. So I'm like, sure, I'll do that. So I'm excited for that as well. So yeah, so thank you for bearing through another hour with me. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for sticking by me and supporting me, following me all this time. If you have any questions about anything that you saw today, feel free to leave me a comment. I'll go ahead and link all of these. Well, I'll link the pages at least. I may not necessarily, because it's too many characters, I think, to list every single project. But I'll go ahead and link the websites at least, the general websites. So Heaven and Earth Designs, Totem Crafts. And then I do give you, that's why I also give you the names of the pieces, so that you can go ahead and look them up yourselves if you're interested. But yeah, if you're interested in behind the scenes, getting a closer look at all of these, I do have the memberships available, so feel free to join if you wish. Join my little family. Otherwise, again, just thank you everyone for all of your support. And yeah, I'll see you guys for the next WIP parade at the end of the year. As always, I wish you guys a productive week, a lovely weekend, and I hope that you always find the time to do the thing that makes you happy. Until next time, bye.